This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Will Jewelry and Loan. When you need cash and you need it fast, check out Will Jewelry and Loan. Come on in with your jewelry, firearms, electronics, tools, lawn equipment, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, and even four-wheelers. They will beat any competitor's loan amount, and that's a fact. Will Jewelry and Loan guarantees faster and more cash for your loan than any other company in the area. They have your cash you need fast. Check them out today on their Facebook page or give them a call at 304-768-5101. Stop in and talk with them at 5523 McCorkle Avenue, Southwest, South Charleston, West Virginia. Will Jewelry and Loan, 304-768-5101. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We got a pretty special guest here tonight, Kirk.price with Whitetail Properties. He's a land specialist with them. And I've also got co-host Dan Hall and Dave Young here with me. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing well, Michael. Kirk, good to have you on here. Dave, glad you made it tonight.
Yeah, we missed you last week.
Thanks, man. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Good day. Well, I appreciate y'all having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. We just wanted to bring you on, to kind of give a little introduction of how you got started in the outdoor industry and different things like that. We know you've had some different journeys there in the outdoor industry. So we'll start off with you just born and raised here in Boone County, West Virginia. And you had a nice buck harvest here November 21st. And there's a pretty interesting story that goes behind that. You want to share that with us?
Yeah. So where would you like me to start? Just kind of, I guess, my background first?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I am originally from Boone County, West Virginia. I grew up on Route 85. I had a deep passion for the outdoors. I remember being a kid, and we just hunt the weekends. Saturday we usually go hunt, and I remember being so anxious just to get out there and get to spend time out on the farm we hunted. But that was kind of where I guess got my passion for the outdoors, just spending time on the weekends with my dad and grandpa and stuff hunting. And I knew as I got older that I wanted to try to incorporate, the outdoor lifestyle into my job and in my profession and everything. So that's kind of how I got my start in the outdoors.
Yeah, man, that's awesome to hear. Being your age, you're kind of young. What are you, 26 maybe?
Yeah, you nailed it. 26 on the dot.
26, yeah, man. It's awesome to hear that there's still young people that have the drive for the outdoors that we did. I'm 40. It's nice to hear that you all still have the drive and stuff that we had when we was younger. I mean, it shows us that the tradition is still alive and still going well. So, yeah, if you want to go into talking about that story from that buck you killed on the November there, the 21st, I think is when you harvested that 10 point.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date, but it was around there, I think. Maybe I take that back. I think it was the 20th. Because I killed another deer a few years ago on the 20th, and that's the reason I'm able to remember. But
I got you.
So this buck, I found him. I killed a deer earlier in one of the bow-only counties in like September 27th, 28th. It was the end of September, just the first few days into season. And then I immediately started looking, because that was my deer in the bow-only counties. And then I immediately started looking for a deer in, a gun county, because you can only harvest one buck in those counties. So I started looking for a buck, and I just scattered trail cameras. I didn't have any summer photos, no history in this area I was hunting, just kind of a new area to me. But I felt like there would be a big deer there, and I just started paying attention to it. So I scattered cameras out, and it took about a week or two, and that deer eventually popped up. And at this point, it was towards the end of October, because after I killed that deer, I was like, hey, I'm going to buckle down and hammer out work. And I was like, I'm good for the year. So I, of course, mid-October starts rolling around, and you know how it is. I've still got that same itch. But, as soon as I kill one buck, I'm thinking about the next one. So
yeah.
Anyways, I got pictures of that deer, and I hunted him all all November. I don't know how many sits I had on him, but the area I was hunting, I have a electric dirt bike actually, and I use it one to look at properties when I go take photos of properties and stuff with whitetail properties. But I also use it to access a lot of the places I hunt, and I could slip in and hunt that deer pretty much undetected without leaving much scent or anything in the area. And so I set on him a lot more than I do deer. Um, normally I'm pretty laid back, and I don't go in those areas until it's time to kill. But I really hunted him,
Yeah.
and I think I saw him twice out of the stand, and then one morning I heard him fighting another buck, and just absolutely duking it out before daylight. But
Yeah, so this was like your third encounter with this buck,
this is
right?
the third encounter. Yep, third encounter.
That's awesome.
Yep, and so anyways, I was out scouting. It was rifle season was about to come in, and I was getting anxious because you know how it is. Bucks leave properties. They go here. They go here. A lot of if you're hunting a deer in a rifle county, it's a lot of people come out opening day of rifle season, so it's easy for your target
Yeah.
buck to get killed. So I was scouting, and of course I had my bow with me, but I wasn't thinking that I would actually get an opportunity. Well, then sure enough, I was glassing, and happened to see the buck, him in a vulnerable place where I thought I could kill him, and he was feeding with the doe. So I I glassed him and decided. I took a while, to decide how I wanted to approach him. Well, it felt like a while. In reality, it probably wasn't 5 minutes, but I got the wind, hitting me in the face, and I was able to slip in on him at 37 yards. I drew back on him and wasn't able to, I wasn't able to get a shot at 37 when I was full draw. I wasn't expecting it to I was just tore up, and I could not get my pin to steady. So I let off, and he actually fed closer to me, and I got him, I think probably within 20. And I drew on him again and double lunged him, and he didn't make it, 20, 30 yards.
Wow, that's crazy. Sorry about that. I coughed and I thought I was muted. That was my bad.
You're fine.
Jeez.
You're fine.
It's one of them things you think you're muted, and I'm looking over at the screen here because on our message chat line. Yeah.
Unprofessional.
Yeah, you got that right.
I'm sure
Unbelievable.
I'm sure you guys never mess up.
Man, we are
No.
perfect, dude. Hey, that edit button makes us perfect.
Right?
Perfectly screw ups.
I hear you.
But so you was in your socks on that deer, huh?
Oh, I totally left that part out. I try not
Yeah.
to.
I was
I
like,
know.
where is this going to come in at?
I know. You have to listen. I feel like sometimes I'm rambling, so I just shorten the story and just
No, we want all the details, man.
So
Yeah, you got to give the meat.
So, I don't know if you all have ever tried stalking a deer with your socks on versus off, but I mean, with your shoes on versus off, but it makes a big difference. That morning, it was probably 20 degrees, and there was a solid frost on. And I knew when I took my boots off, my feet were going to be freezing, and that would be it for the day. Normally I keep an extra pair of socks in my truck just for when I do this, because I have a tendency, to do it a lot because I feel so much more confident with no shoes on. And I was wearing big rubber boots, and they're not good for stalking. So anyways, I felt like I have a legitimate shot to kill him. I don't have to worry about rifle season. I can kill him right now. And I was like, it's all or nothing. So I took those boots off, and I made that story nice and short and sweet, but really it was probably a 30-minute stalk as far as me just taking my time. And you just got to go slow. I've learned over the years stalking these deer, you've got to go slow, and you got to more so let it develop rather than you forcing it to happen. And getting aggressive and just going, just take your time with it. So anyways, I took my boots off and for 30 minutes stalked him, and it was probably 21 or 22 degrees, and my feet were so cold, but it didn't matter because, it was
Your feet were numb, wasn't they?
right. I mean,
Yeah, you probably couldn't even feel them, so it didn't matter.
right.
You know
Right.
something,
So,
Kirk, about me, I have size 15 shoes. So when I take my boots off, I'm just as loud as when I have them on. So it wouldn't help me much.
The people coming hunting behind him will think Bigfoot was in the area.
yeah, if he takes his boots off, for sure. I gotcha.
man.
So yeah, I mean that was
Yeah.
it. I mean, if you all listen to this, if you've never if you have a deer that you can kill on the ground and you feel like you're going to have to walk, take your boots off and just listen how much more quiet you are.
That's great advice. I mean,
Oh yeah, it
it's running
works.
through your head when the adrenaline is going like that. You wouldn't think of something like that, but I mean, and that's why your feet, you still have feet because all the adrenaline running through your body.
All right.
That's just like moccasins. Those are actually some of the best things you can wear while you're hunting because they are quiet. I mean, them Indians didn't have it wrong for all them years.
Oh yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Right. Well, they even sell a like a moccasin type cover that you can slip over your boots just for stalking. But I mean, I haven't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't used them. But like I said, I normally keep an extra pair of socks in my pack or in the truck just for situations like that.
Nice. That's awesome. That's a great story, man. That's what it's made about right there. That's something you'll remember forever. Had to 30-minute walk to kill that thing in just a pair of socks.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, where else are you going to hear a story like that? I mean, when I first heard that from Jason, I was like, oh my God, we've got to have him on the podcast so he can tell this story. I have never heard of anybody stalking a deer in their socks.
I've never done that. I've never heard that either. But
Right.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I always try to walk, toe to heel, so anything in front of me doesn't, a lot of it causes a lot of the sound waves to go back. But I've never even thought for a second to take my boots off.
Yeah, but your toe to heel's a mile apart.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I try to teach my son to be quiet in the woods, and it's like, a mini freaking grizzly bear running through the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard thing to teach when they're young still. They don't know how to be quiet in the woods. Even if you show them, it's still a learning curve for them.
Yep.
But I'd like to talk about a little bit of other adventures that you've been blessed with in the outdoor industry. I know you guys do a lot of bear hunting as well. Would you hit on that a little bit?
Okay. Yeah. So that's actually what I was doing today. December is my favorite time to bear hunt. We bear hunt with dogs. West Virginia is a great state to live in for a houndsman because we have an all year training season. We can run bears all the time. So
Nice.
it's I didn't grow up. My dad didn't hound hunt. My grandpa, no, they're not houndsmen. But just like I said, I have a strong passion for the outdoors. I mean, that's my addiction. That's what I want to do. So the first time I went bear hunting, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is a lot of fun. And it's not what I thought it was. I thought it was a lot of people think it's for lazy guys, but it's the exact opposite. A lot of times I feel after I get home from bear hunting that, I just got in a fight because I'm tripping, falling down a mountain, running after bears, catching dogs, you don't know what, every day is a new adventure. But with West Virginia, we can run our dogs all throughout the summer and stuff. And for a houndsman, it's not about killing the bear. I could care less truly about killing a bear. For me, it's about getting to work my dogs, spend time in the outdoors. And like today, we had a young man with us that killed his first bear. So that's what I like doing is, introducing people to the outdoors and just having a good time with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people, bear hunt with dogs, and that's, a lot of times they don't even go out for the kill. They're out there enjoying the outdoors. They're training their dogs. They're getting them better. That way, if they get the opportunity, like you said, somebody that's never even got a chance to bear hunt, never killed a bear, your dogs are trained up for it. They're ready to go. When you turn them loose, you get that other guy that's never got a chance. He gets the chance.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now I've actually heard this, Kirk, just to kind of get your take on this. I've had a cousin tell me this, and then another man that's related to my father-in-law, that they both say that they got heart shots on a bear, and that bear is still charged at them with no heart, essentially. I mean, is that something you've heard of or seen or anything before?
It's not something that I've particularly heard of.
Okay.
I mean, what I would say maybe that is just, I guess it's just the little bit of life they have left in them, a little bit of breath they
Right.
have left in them. This
Right.
is
They want to
final
try
few
to.
steps. Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
nothing can survive without a heart.
Yeah. I mean, and so like my cousin, of course, it died. He said it came running at him and died within like 5 feet of him. Just kind of fell in the dirt, and he was
Wow.
pretty stunned by it. But the other guy, he said, he carried a pistol as well, and he emptied the pistol into the bear. And then the bear went down in the river and died, beside of him. So it was just, I don't know. It's just, I heard that a couple times, and I thought, man, for a first time hunter to go out there, might be a good idea to have a safe distance when you're shooting one. I don't know. I've never been bear hunting myself, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I mean, and they are incredibly tough animals. And of course, people just assume all bears are. I mean, I hear this all the time. It's like all bears are. I'll say like, how big was that bear you saw? And somebody will say 300 pounds. I'm like, well, chances are it was not 300 pounds. The average bear in for instance, for the state of West Virginia is maybe 150 pounds. And a 150-pound bear is super athletic. If you strip the hide from that, and especially in the spring and summer when they don't have any fat on them, those bears are so athletic, so strong. They can climb anything. They're fast, and they're such tough animals. They're truly unreal.
So how big was that one that your buddy Chad killed there recently?
That one on official scales weighed 374.
Wow. So that's a good size bear for West Virginia for sure.
Absolutely, and especially in December, in the latter part of December, because a lot of bears start holing up, is what we call it. So they start going into hibernation in December, especially the bigger ones. So that'll probably be the biggest bear we kill in December.
I mean, going back to what Dave said, I mean, there's probably some truth behind what his family there has said. I mean, you have you taken and cut the head off of a snake, and it'll still try to connect itself back together, and it'll still move around, and the nerves and things, different nerve endings. I mean, you cut the head off a chicken, it's still going to run around with its head cut off.
Yeah.
So I would say there's some truth behind that when you with an animal like that. I mean, it's just a bigger animal. I mean,
Yeah, I've actually
I'd say it'd
had
be
fight
the
or
same
flight
I've
thing.
had the head of a copperhead try to bite me
it's
before.
that fight or flight thing, just like we have as humans. Yeah. I mean, I've actually, to go as far to talk about deer doing that, I've actually, witnessed deer, they'll go down in an area. That's why they say, usually wait about 25, 30 minutes before you go start tracking, just to make sure it's going to die all the way. But we've actually went after deer, and they'll be laying there, and you'll find like leaves and stuff in its wound to where it tried to pack itself so it wasn't going to bleed out anymore. I mean, their survival is just, it's like Dan was saying, fight or flight, survival of the fittest,
Yeah, and actually, I have a good story on like what you're talking about. This year, the first buck I killed, he was slightly quartering to me, and I double lunged him. I caught I centered up his first lung and then caught the back side of it when I gutted him of the other lung. And then it passed through, a section of guts and intestines and stuff. But when I shot him, it actually knocked him off his feet. Literally knocked him. I've never seen anything like it. The deer weighed 182 gutted, so he was a big bodied deer. And it actually knocked him off his feet. And he got back up. I mean, it was like a gunshot. He got back up and then turned and walked uphill, which normally, it's not a good sign when you shoot a deer with a bow. Walks uphill, and then I see him, he's having a hard time. and he stops, and I can tell he's going to bed down. Well, then 20 minutes later, he rolls off the hill and then eventually dies. But it took him all that time to die. So, I mean, they definitely, you never know exactly, how quick it's going to happen. But in that case, that bear didn't, bust out of there running hard. And it took him, I saw the whole thing. It took him 20 minutes to die.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it, man. It's just crazy.
We'll circle back here, talk a little bit about your time there with Whitetail Properties and what you do with them and how you got started and how you're doing with them right now, and how amount of properties you sold or how many you got listed there.
Okay, yeah. So I recently went through a career change at the beginning of the year, and I got actually officially hired on, I think, with Whitetail Properties in February, and then it wasn't until June I went through orientation, and then really kind of got things kicked off in July. But Whitetail Properties has been in the state for a few years now, but there was only 2 Whitetail Properties guys covering all of West Virginia. So, that's a ton of territory for just 2 guys. And in the southern part of the state, it hasn't been nearly as, the presence hasn't been there. So Whitetail Properties is a new concept to a lot of people. And, a lot of people just assume that, well, first they think Whitetail Properties is about leasing land, which, I get messages every day of people wanting to lease land, but we're a real estate company. Whitetail Properties, the headquarters in Illinois, is the broker. Of course, and we have a West Virginia broker. But it's doing really good so far for me down here. I mean, it's starting to catch on. We've got a number of listings on the website, and I'm really excited about bringing a market to the bow-only counties of West Virginia, because I have buyers calling from all over the place. And the number one state is Florida for out-of-state buyers. People looking for property in the bow-only counties, which I think is wild that property down there is becoming that popular. And there's not a lot down there. And that's the thing is, if you own property down there, it's a special thing because most of those counties are owned by land companies. So, yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, you talked earlier about how it's kind of been slow starting off, but it's really starting to take off now, and you've had some good sales there, and we got one of your testimonials here from one of your clients, Charles H. Jr. He said that Kirk takes the initiative to handle all matters himself, something other agents would not do. He is motivated, hardworking, punctual, professional, and easy to deal with. So you've got some good reviews there coming from your clients. So you've got a good base, and sounds like you're starting out well.
Yeah. I try to treat everybody as if they were my own family. A lot of landowners you're working with are sometimes older people and stuff, and so I would want someone taking care of my grandparents in the way that I'm taking care of these people. And of course, not everybody is older, but I just always try to use that as my perspective that I'm working with family, and that's the way I want people to feel when I'm selling their land or I'm representing them as a buyer.
Yeah, that's an awesome way to look at it, man. So Dan mentioned there earlier some other adventures and journeys that you've been in. So your third cousin, Jason, he kind of spilt the beans and let us know some other things about you. So you've actually been with some high-profile people in the outdoor industry at one time. Tell us a little bit about those stories.
Yep. So I started filming hunts when I was in high school, and of course, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just hunting and filming. Really, I should have just been hunting because it's key.
Well, you got to start somewhere,
Right. So it's key to learn how to actually hunt before you start filming it. That's that's an important part that a lot of people, including myself, miss out on. But I kind of learned them both hand in hand at the same time. And I'm still learning, of course. I'm by no means an expert in either field, but So I started filming my hunts when I was young, just because, I mean, you see the guys on TV and stuff, and that's who you want to be. A lot of people, they look up to football or basketball players or whatever. And I played, I played basketball, football, and baseball in high school, but I never wanted to be a professional athlete. I always wanted to be the guys on TV killing big bucks. So I started filming my hunts, and then, I had just all kinds of different footage, but I didn't, I really didn't know what I was doing. And I put together kind of like a highlight reel of all the stuff I had done. And, anyways, long story short, I got an opportunity to go work, for the TV show Duck Commander. And they had a new show at the time, which I don't think it no longer exists, called Fin Commander, which was a fishing, show.
Yeah.
And,
I remember that with Godwin and stuff like that.
Yeah, all that first footage you saw of that show was I had filmed, a large portion of it. So I was 19 years old. I took a break from college. I was too young. You have to be I went to WVU, and you have to be a junior in order to take like a, I guess internship. So it wasn't actually an official internship, but I was a cameraman for their shows. And for one fall semester, that's all I did was fly. I mean, I flew all over the country, filming. I filmed.
Oh, wow.
I filmed Luke Bryan for a week elk hunting in Colorado.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
I filmed Tombo Martin mule deer hunt in Oregon. I was all over the place, and I've got so many, cool, stories about just that entire experience that, that made it worth it all. I mean, they paid me while I was doing it, but to be honest, they didn't have to pay me $1, and I'd still do it. So,
Yeah,
not today.
you just enjoyed it being there.
Just being there. Yeah. So,
and that's awesome.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, the whole experience was just unreal. I mean, to be 19 years old, I mean, I knew I should be appreciating it, and of course I was. But now looking back at it, it was just what I was doing was unreal.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, and the experience it gave you too, the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, just watching them guys on TV. I mean, they would be a hoot to hang out with. So, who was your favorite one out of the group to videotape on a hunt?
Probably Tombo, just because you didn't know, what to expect, what he was going to do next. He was just all over the place. He was a lot of fun. But hey, I'll say this, Luke Bryan was, of course I hear guys all the time call his music pop country, or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, one of the most down-to-earth family men. And when we elk hunted, we got up every morning. He didn't miss a day. He was hard after it, and I have a ton of respect for him. I have a ton of respect for them all, but that hunt was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you kind of often hear different things, and somebody from your perspective, we get to hear, how these guys actually really are. I mean, that's one of the cool things about it. When it comes down to it, they're just like everybody else, but they've just made a name for themselves, and rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, a name for themselves and millions of dollars.
Yeah, that you got to share on a journey in the woods. I mean, that's awesome, man.
Yep, it was, and so and that was my true, I guess like kickstart in the outdoor industry. Once I did that, I guess I got taken a lot more seriously, because when you're that young, everybody just looks at you as a young teenage punk. But that really helped me, I guess, kind of get established and have some type of real presence in the outdoor industry, which led to me now where I'm at Whitetail Properties. So I'm very grateful for what they did for me, and that was a special time that I'll always talk about. Because I'll tell my kids stories one day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's something that you can pass down, that awesome stories that you can share with them for sure.
Another thing we like to do on our podcast here is our salute to valor. Tonight we're going to salute James G. Ross. He was born in Charleston, West Virginia. He was originally from Cross Lanes, but he retired to Quick, West Virginia. He entered the service in 1989 as a private, and he retired in 2016 with the rank of major. He completed 27 years of service He was stationed at multiple bases, including Fort Benning, Fort Campbell, Fort Rucker. He was stationed at Fort Carson, and also Fort Polk. He did some tours over in Panama, Germany, with the National Training Center in California. He was at Fort Lewis, Washington, and he retired from Joint Base McGuire-Dix in Lakehurst. He had multiple tours of service, including Desert Storm to Operation Iraqi Freedom. He was awarded combat awards such as the Bronze Star, multiple Meritorious Service ribbons, and he got his combat infantry badge as well as a combat action badge. So he was, he went from the working class to the officer ranks while he was in there. So that's a pretty sweet deal. He moved up in rank pretty well. So, we want to thank him for his service and everything he's done, sacrificed for our country.
Yep, definitely. We've had James Ross on the show. He was on the show when we did his high atop the Continental Divide out in Colorado. And he was sitting right there by a fire, and you could hear it crackling in the background. So if that's one of the episodes that you all haven't listened to out there, go check that episode out because it was really good. It was full of really good information. And there were 3 service guys out there, hunting right off the Continental Divide Trail, just spending time together in the outdoors. It's something that they do every year. And James is a good friend of ours. He owns Laurel Fork Farms and Outdoors. We go to most of the trade shows here with him in West Virginia. Great guy, great family. And we just thank him.
Yep, he was out there with the
Tims, the 2 Tims, old Tim and young Tim.
the young Tim and the old Tim.
But yeah, we just thank him for his service, and we appreciate everything he's done for our country.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your
27
service.
years that he was in there. So, he definitely laid his a good portion of his life down for us.
So Kirk, getting back to you here, what are your plans for the rest of the year as far as hunting's concerned, getting outside?
Okay, so we'll finish out probably the rest of the year bear hunting. So that'll take us, to the 31st. But we also take our dogs and we take them out west and mountain lion hunt. And this past week, we already went to New Mexico once. We killed a tom out there this past week, and then drove back. And as soon as we got back, we took off bear hunting, which I worked a couple of days there. And then the last 3 days I bear hunted, and tomorrow I'm back to work. So just working, hunting. I'm either doing one or the other.
So if you were to take us with you bear hunting, because we really want to go. Anyway, what kind of gun? Like I got a 44 mag. Is that something that I could bring along to be proficient with that, or is that something might be a little too small? Should I go with a rifle?
Yeah. Okay. So I have a 44 mag it's a Marlin 44. It's a rifle. It's plenty. I prefer rifles over pistols, just because, I've seen guys be a lot more accurate with rifles than pistols. I've killed bears with pistols. I've killed them with rifles, and I tend to prefer a rifle. The rifle that I carry it was my great grandfather's rifle, and it's a 35 Remington. Yeah, it's tough to come by the rounds. So whenever I pull the trigger on it, it's the right shot. I don't waste rounds.
Right.
But yeah, because you get on Gun Broker right now, and a box of them, it's the only place you can find them in stock, and they're like $100 for a box of 20.
Yeah, I bet.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
I used to deer hunt with a 35.
Yeah. Well, it's just about impossible now. I need to find somebody that reloads.
Goodness gracious.
Just because of the price of ammo.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we should all be reloading personally. I don't like anybody being able to regulate how I can defend myself or hunt or anything like that,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
Man, I tell you what, I mean, sometimes it's hard to find 30-06 ammo. I'm like, this should be like one of the easiest rounds to find in West Virginia.
Yeah, you
30 sometimes.
You would think. So I live, pretty close to the Charleston Cabela's, South Charleston Cabela's, And every time I walk in there, the caliber they have in stock is 308. And the rifle I use is a 7 mm, but I can hardly find. I shoot I don't just switch ammo. I shoot a specific round. It's a Hornady, and I can never find it in stock, hardly online or over there in Cabela's. And so moving on, I believe I'm just going to switch to the 308 caliber, just because it is constantly in stock for whatever reason. But that 7 mm is tough to come by.
Yeah, it sure is, but it's a great round, Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was just going to say, I just picked up a 6.5 Creedmoor earlier in the year, and I used it for the first time this year. But the rounds are easily available, online. Of course, your cheapest box is going to be about $40 a box, which to me is still insane. I mean, I remember spending $20 a box for my 30-06 ammo growing up, but yeah.
I mean, you just look at 22 shells right now. I mean, 22 shells are like $20 a box. I mean, you used to be able to get them for like $7.
Yeah, I remember that. And 410, you can forget about finding 410. Whether it be self-defense 410 rounds or shotgun rounds, whatever. It's hard.
Yeah, that goes back to the story with my son this year. We're getting everything ready, and we get up that morning, and it was the night before too. I said, son, you better get your ammo ready and stuff for your gun. And he hunts with a 410. He's like, yeah, it's all good to go. We get in the truck, and he's like, Dad, I don't have any ammo for my 410. So we leave the 410 at home, and we took the 30-06.
Yeah.
Well, we get to the woods, and he sees this nice 10-point, and this was like 4:30 in the evening. We get off the side by side, and he walks out on this point, and he sees this buck that was chasing a doe, and he kneels down, and he took a shot at it, and that 30-06, man, blew him back on his butt. That's the first time he's ever shot it. But I told him, I said, you don't have any ammo for yours. We can't find it in the stores, and you're going to have to shoot 30-06. So he did, but we get back down to the truck after the hunt, and he's like, oh, Dad, I got 2 410 slugs in my backpack. And I was like, man, that sucks, because if you would have had your 410, there's no doubt in my mind you would have laid that buck down. So I said, well, you got a nice buck story to tell now for your buddies.
Right. He was anticipating that 30-06 kick. He was thinking about it. And that would have been the difference maker. That's funny you said that, because I killed my first buck. It was a West Virginia 11-point to spike.
Nice.
And my dad, he told me, looking back on it, I know he's full of it, but he told me, I was using a 30-06 semi-automatic. I don't even know what I don't know what brand, I don't know what it was, but he told me that it was a low powder 30-06 round, and so it wouldn't kick me. And so I went out there with all the confidence in the world and had no idea, and I killed the deer. But looking back on it, I know it wasn't. He just told me that so I wouldn't be intimidated by it.
Yeah,
wow,
definitely.
That's crazy. Well,
and I told him,
sorry,
I told him that he was going to have, it was going to kick, and he was ready for it to a point, but I give it to him for taking it and shooting it,
Yeah, that in itself. And a good idea. I've heard of people doing this with either, women or kids or even men. I mean, it could be for anybody, but they'll take someone that maybe they're a new hunter or whatever, and they'll go to the range with them. And whenever they're shooting, maybe they're shooting a 2 3/4 inch shell or a shot of a shotgun for turkey season or whatever it is. But when they're actually hunting, they're using that 3-inch TSS round that has some oomph to it.
Yeah.
But in that moment, they don't feel it. They got all that adrenaline.
No.
The last thing they're thinking about is the kick if they're not anticipating it. So
yeah, and I think it's kind of good that it happened this way, because he's never once wanted to shoot it. We've been at the range plenty of times when I've been shooting it, sighting it in for deer season. And I'm like, hey, son, you want to shoot the 30-06? No, I'm good. I'm good with my 410, So it got him into it to now he knows what it feels like. He don't have to worry about it and anticipate the hit no more in the shoulder. and I think he'll be ready for next year, and he can shoot that 30-06. So,
Absolutely. That's awesome.
well, one of the things that we like to do during our podcast is our verse of the day, and I think Dave's got that ready to go.
We got her ready to go. Verse of the day tonight is out of John chapter 7, verse 37. And it says, in the last day, that great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come to me and drink. And, I think that, we always try to take, verses, look how they apply today, look how we can apply them in our lives, or how we're already applying them in our lives. A lot of people, do that. But here, what he's talking is, he says, hey, if anybody's thirsting for something that's bigger than themselves, we always, I heard this one time, I heard that, man's got basically a hole in the center of themselves that's a God-shaped hole. The only person that can fill it is God, and you see people running the rat race of life, trying to, fulfill themselves. But really there's only one person that can really fulfill you and make you who you're supposed to be. And that's Jesus. And that's just,
Definitely.
That's just the way that it is. That's the simple truth of the matter. Everything that we do in life as Christians, we do it he's with us. We go to the woods. Man, I go to the woods so many times not wanting to even kill something. I'm just outside trying to spend time with him, And
yeah, definitely.
So anyway, if you're thirsting for something more than yourself, that's the guy you're thirsty for.
That's good, man. Yeah, it's it just goes back to us always talking about spending time in outdoors and things like that. You got to realize what's important, and God, family, country, and everything outdoors. That goes back to our platform here on the podcast. So, it's good, Dave. Thank you, brother. We appreciate that. You always do a good job with that verse of the day there.
Thanks, man.
Well, back to bear hunting. So, that's how you're going to finish out this year.
Yeah.
Kirk, what's your plans for 2023? Anything new coming up? I know you said that whitetail properties there are starting to take off and things, so I'm sure you got some things in the works for them.
Yeah, absolutely. At the beginning of the year there, I plan on hammering down. I've got a lot of listings coming up that I'm excited about. And of course, I've got listings on the website that I think are great. But I plan on hammering down with work and moving some land. But going into this year, I've got a few preference points in Wyoming for mule deer, and so I may try to draw a mule deer tag. And I've went up there once and killed a mule deer, and I really liked the area I was in, so I may try to head back there come October for the rifle season. I'm not dead set on that yet. We'll see how things play out, but that's kind of something different that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, man, that'll be an awesome trip.
Yeah, for sure. It's I absolutely just love chasing mule deer. It's a different style of hunting. It's a lot of glassing, but it's just a lot of fun. After I killed my first one, I was hooked on it.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the things that I want to do, it's on my bucket list, is elk hunt. I want to kill an elk so bad.
Me too.
No doubt.
Dave's like, yeah, me too.
No doubt. This year I was lucky, and I know two gentlemen that they're friends of mine that had Kentucky elk tags, and I was able to tag along with them and help them. And I also filmed it. I helped them harvest bulls. One was a archery, and the other one was a rifle. But that was just a blast. I was literally sleeping in West Virginia and then getting up in the mornings and driving to go elk hunt. I never thought I'd be doing that.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, and everybody I talk to says it's like turkey hunting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love turkey hunting, so I'm gonna love elk hunting.
Right? Yeah, it is. There's a lot of similarities. Hey, but you got to watch this. If you say that to those Western guys, sometimes they get offended.
Oh yeah, really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
They think that's I guess
like an insult.
It's an insult. Yeah, it's like, oh, turkey, a dumb bird, comparing that to a magnificent elk.
Wow.
I see the correlation, but
Yeah, but what they haven't had is they haven't had a West Virginia mountain bird. That's the thing. them central, United States out west, those birds out there, in my opinion, they're a lot easier to kill than an eastern
Dude, they're dumb
bird.
turkeys. Those are dumb turkeys. We got smart ones. I'm just kidding.
That's funny. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to about do it for this evening. Kirk, we appreciate you coming on and, spending time with us here this evening and just filling us in on all the different exciting things and adventures that you've been on in your life. I mean, you've had some great opportunities with some great people and to spend that time with them in the outdoors and in the outdoor industry. So we appreciate you coming on.
all right, fellas.
Yeah, thanks, Kirk. Happy to have you, man.
If you all want to get a hold of Kirk, you can get a hold of him about general land and hunting property. He can help you with all your hunting property needs here in West Virginia in the southern counties. He's focusing more on the bow-only counties here in West Virginia, he said, but basically anywhere in southern West Virginia, give him a call at 304-784-5904, or you can call the office at 217-285-9000, and you will get a hold of his broker there, and she will direct you to him, I'm pretty sure. But that's 304-784-5904, and you can also email him at Kirk.price at whitetailproperties.com. So, Kirk, we just thank you again for coming on and really appreciate it, man. We had a great evening.
Thanks, Kirk.
Everybody, thanks for listening this evening. Be sure to check us out on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music. We have a Facebook page there, On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Get on there and give us a share, give us a like. And we're on about every different outlet that you can think of to listen to there. So this episode will air on Wednesday morning at 6 a.m., so be sure to give it a listen and give it a share. So thank you all. Hope everybody has a great evening, and this is our last episode till after the first of the year. We'll be back after the first of the year, so everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks for listening, guys. This segment of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by AMG Network Hosting, LLC, a national independent agent for most major telecommunication service providers. If your business is in need of internet, phones, credit card processing, let AMG Hosting help you compare options. They work with over 100 national carriers, and they can help you choose the best option for your needs. Our independence means we are loyal to our customers, not a brand or a company. Call us today at 304-608-3653 or visit us at amgnhconsulting.com. amgnhconsulting.com. Phone number again is 304-608-3653. AMG Network Hosting, LLC.